UFC Fight Night Blanchfield versus Barber is coming up next weekend, and today, guys, I have the full card breakdown for you with timestamps if you'd like to skip to any part of the video. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another video. If you are new here, my name is Kyle. I am your guy with too many YouTube channels. Couple things. Apologies. We have the big glowing window open. It wasn't that cloudy 5 minutes ago. That sunny 5 minutes ago. It was super cloudy, so hopefully it doesn't, put a damper on the scenery that you typically do see. And again, if you want to hear my intro, timestamps will be there if you'd like to skip to any part. Also, I have been starting to upload these full card breakdowns a little bit earlier than I usually do. If this makes a difference for you and you enjoy the fact that these get uploaded earlier in the week whenever the previous fight card's going on, because it's a little bit to figure these things out with the algorithm, because everybody is looking up, at the time of recording this, everybody's watching videos on the card for Burns versus Morales. So it's a little difficult to gain some traction on a video like this, having the brand new card that's coming up that nobody's searching around. So if this is something that you really like that I do, please make a note in the comment section down below, and I'll start gauging, okay, you know what, people are starting to like this, and no matter what happens with the algorithm, I'm going to punch this out because a bunch of people do want to see it. So please let me know. Apologies for the long intro. We're going to be breaking down all of these fights as we typically do with these videos. Thank you so much. Let's get started. Starting off with the first fight on the card, we have MarQuel Mederos taking on Bolaji Oki. This is already an interesting fight to start things off with because it's two guys that have a lot of potential in the UFC, and I'm not exactly too sure where they fit in the division so far. So we have MarQuel Mederos, who's a good striker with nice combinations, nice volume. When he is the aggressor, he really shines with his striking, and he does have grappling in his back pocket to go along with that. The only weakness for MarQuel Mederos is his striking defense. His chin is too up in the air. He doesn't always move enough, so that could run into a couple issues, but it kind of goes with something that I'm about to say about Bolaji Oki. But we've seen him have a couple UFC fights so far. Him coming off most recently against the Austin Hubbard fight. Honestly, I thought that fight could have gone either way. He had trouble with the grappling, but he shouldn't really have to deal with that with Bolaji Oki. Other than that, he's shown okay performances so far, and I'm excited to see where he fits into the UFC. Bolaji Oki, on the other hand, he is a Muay Thai and kickboxing world champion. He's a good striker with absolutely huge power. He does a good job controlling the pace. He's strong, and he uses some nice, really strong, but at the same time, a little bit slowish with the jabs that come out. He's pretty methodical on the feet in general. His takedown defense is okay. He has shown nice sprawls in the past. Sometimes, and a little bit of an issue with the striking like we were talking about with MarQuel Mederos, sometimes he clowns around, open to some shots, I don't personally like it when fighters really do that. And he also gets caught up sometimes throwing really, really big, powerful, loopy shots. When he's doing that, his chin is right out in the air. He's coming off of a little bit, and you know what, against Chris Duncan, he was still having a good performance. He just ended up getting caught, but we've also seen him in the UFC now for a couple fights, and he's shown some good performances, but he is coming off of a loss in comparison to MarQuel Mederos. Both guys are obviously strikers. I imagine that this fight's going to remain on the feet, even though that MarQuel Mederos does have the potential to open up the grappling game. If he does choose to do that, maybe he can see some success, but I don't think he's going to do that. It's two guys in their primes. Both guys have been looking good. Both guys are kind of in the same spot in their career. And I think this is excellent matchmaking by the UFC because they're very, very similar, okay? I think it's a very tough fight to pick. This certainly isn't a fight that I'm going to be betting on. But I like the striking that I've seen from Bolaji Oki just a little bit more. He also has the experience against strikers. So if he can get comfortable in a setting where he's just going to be striking and not having to deal with the submission like he did in his last fight, I think that he is going to slightly win this fight. But both guys are looking good, man. I am not confident in that pick whatsoever, but I am going to be picking Bolaji Oki to get the job done. Let's check out OddsJam and see what the odds are right now. Bolaji Oki sitting at the average odds of -177, so the odds are kind of going where I was just talking about. It's a really, really good fight to open up the card. I'm excited for this one, guys. Sorry, guys, quick change in scenery. I ended up having to record this later on in the night. My wife and kid ended up coming home. So we're back at it again, moving on to the next fight. Jordan Leavitt versus Kurt Holobaugh. Another really close fight because, we'll walk through it before I even talk about a prediction here. Jordan Leavitt is a well-rounded fighter who kind of does a decent job at all aspects of MMA. He doesn't really shine anywhere. I will say his grappling is way better than his striking, though. But still, even then, when you watch a Jordan Leavitt grapple, you don't go oh, man, look out for this guy. This guy's pretty insane. Kurt Holobaugh, on the other hand, he's an aggressive volume striker with great combinations, but has an all-round game behind that. He does his best work on the feet. He prefers to stay on the feet, but if he ends up getting taken down, he is pretty active off of his back. Kurt Holobaugh is coming off of a really, really nice performance, and it is important to note that he's almost 39 years old. I don't really think he showed signs of aging. His prime days are well behind him, but at the same time, he's still a really, really good fighter. Alexander Hernandez, who is actually a weirdly improving fighter. He just went to war with him. This fight could have gone either way. I edged it towards Hernandez. Other than that, he's been having some wins besides the Trey Ogden fight where he didn't look so good. I wonder if Jordan Leavitt's going to try to implement that same strategy. I mean, just like holding him down, beating him up. But I would say that Trey Ogden does have a better ground game than Jordan Leavitt. Jordan Leavitt, on the other hand, he's had mixed success recently. And against Chase Hooper, honestly, I know he lost this fight, but Chase Hooper is getting better and better. There were excellent grappling exchanges in this fight. He just ended up getting caught. Before that, he ended up having a win over Victor Martinez, which was a really actually good performance. And then Paddy Pimblett ended up beating him. But the problem is, Paddy Pimblett, that loss is aging pretty well too. I think this is another fight where it's excellent matchmaking by the UFC. Here's the problem, because if it stays on the feet, it's going to go to Kurt Holobaugh. If it goes on the ground, it's probably going to be to Jordan Leavitt. If Jordan Leavitt implements his grappling game, Kurt Holobaugh is very, very active off of his back. I'd be surprised if Kurt Holobaugh found a submission or anything like that, but I don't think that Jordan Leavitt would be able to kind of dominate Kurt Holobaugh the way that Trey Ogden dominated Kurt Holobaugh, but he could still win rounds doing so. I think this is another tough fight to predict. I'm going to lean towards Jordan Leavitt. He has more options there. He's younger. He's in his prime. He looked good in his last fight with the grappling exchanges too. I know he ended up getting submitted, but Kurt Holobaugh isn't going to submit him. I'm going to edge it towards Jordan Leavitt. Another not very, very low confidence pick of mine. Let's take a look at OddsJam over here. Jordan Leavitt sitting at a minus 163 favorite. I guess I'm with the odds on this one, guys. I guess I'm with the odds. All right, guys, let's continue on up the card. Andreas Gustafsson is making his UFC debut after looking good on the Contender Series, and he's taking on Jeremiah Wells. Andreas Gustafsson, like I said, brand new to the UFC. He's an aggressive striker with good knockout power. He does a good job at distance. He has a good BJJ game to back it up, but he is primarily a striker. He's been looking good, man, but of course, he hasn't really fought anybody of significance. He's coming into the UFC. This is his first fight in the UFC, and he's taking on I guess you could call him vet at this point. Like, we don't see Jeremiah Wells too often. When's the last time we've seen him? Yeah, over a year ago against Max Griffin. But I don't know why I was questioning the idea that he is a veteran at this game. He's been fighting for quite a while, okay? He is a well-rounded fighter who does a good job adapting wherever the fight goes. If he is able to find himself dictating the pace in a fight, that's where he really ends up looking good. But again, he does a good job mixing things up. He doesn't exactly shine anywhere in MMA, kind of like we were talking about Jordan Leavitt. The guy can do a little bit of everything. He's coming off of 2 losses in a row, and I have no idea why he's been off for over a year. Not a clue, especially like the Max Griffin fight. There wasn't a lot going on in that fight, and it's a shame that he ended up losing the Carlston Harris fight because he was beating up Carlston Harris the entire fight, and then he ended up getting submitted. But there's nothing you can do about that. It's weird to see Andreas Gustafsson entering the UFC at 34 years old. I was thinking like, okay, it's a little bit of a surging contender taking on the old guy, but no, he's 34 years old. I'm going to pick Jeremiah Wells. He has seen some better fighters than Andreas Gustafsson potentially, and I'm not convinced. I need to see Andreas Gustafsson come in, make quick work of a guy like Jeremiah Wells, come in, be aggressive. I'm not going to count on him to do that. I'm going to lean towards Jeremiah Wells to get the job done in his old age. Let's see what the odds have to say over here. Jeremiah Wells, plus 112 average odds underdog over here. I'm with the underdog on this one. I'm going to pick Jeremiah Wells. All right, guys, let's continue on to the next fight. Oban Elliott taking on Ramiz Brahimaj. I'm excited to watch Oban Elliott again. This guy is really gaining some traction within the MMA community, okay? Oban Elliott, he's a well-rounded fighter who uses good fight IQ typically in his fights. He has nice speed, he has technique, and he has technique in all aspects of MMA. I believe him to actually be a very underrated fighter. He has really good leg kicks, he has really good volume, and his takedown defense is really good to keep it on the feet, which he prefers, but he is a well-rounded fighter. He has been looking great in the UFC so far. Coming off of some really nice knockout win, a knockout win over Basel Alves, and he looked good, man. He looked really, really good. And even in like the fight before that, he had a near perfect fight over here. Like I really have been impressed with what I've seen about Oban Elliott so far. I'm not convinced like he's going to be championship material or anything, but he's young, he's improving, he has all the potential in the world. Ramiz Brahimaj, on the other hand, I can't really say the same thing, unfortunately. He is a great grappler with poor striking, and he doesn't always show good fight IQ. That's pretty well all you can say about Ramiz Brahimaj. He's been a very, very inactive fighter. Even the wins that he hasn't exactly aged the best. He beats fighters that kind of don't belong in the UFC, and once he fights anybody else, he ends up losing. So, with that being the case, Oban Elliott's going to beat him. I think he's going to defend every takedown. I think that he's going to piece him up on the feet, possibly finding a KO. Oban Elliott, I am confident in saying will get the job done. Plus, he's 27 years old, still improving. Ramiz Brahimaj is exiting his prime. I like Oban Elliott in this matchup, guys, and I was about to say, I would imagine the odds pretty well say the same thing, but he is a significant favorite at minus 452. Yes, Oban Elliott should win this fight. All right, guys, let's move on to the banger of the card. The best fight on the entire card, Ketlen Vieira taking on Macy Chiasson. This is a great fight, okay? You have Ketlen Vieira, who is a heavy-handed for the division. I always have to clarify that. Judo fighter who does a good job of getting you close, or excuse me, has the goal and sometimes does a good job of getting you close and, you know, just gaining control. Working from there, I wouldn't even say that she is necessarily the best judo fighter, you know, but she is a judo fighter, okay? Macy Chiasson, on the other hand, she's a big girl for the division. She's pretty strong in the clinch. She has decent takedowns, decent submissions. Her cardio is pretty good for the division, too. She works. She's a little bit more of a violent fighter in the division, and honestly, that kind of matters in the 135 division. She's coming off of 2 wins in a row. The problem is, like, Mayra was winning this fight, but she just ended up landing a huge elbow and got the fight stopped because of a cut. At the end of the day, though, I thought it was less than 9 months ago we've seen her. But regardless, I'm also confused by Ketlen Vieira's recent performance because she fought Kayla Harrison. First of all, the fight was at elevation, and I was leaving this fight like I have no idea what to think. Like, was it the elevation? Was Kayla Harrison overrated? Is she good because she contended with Kayla Harrison? There are too many questions, and she just lost a subpar bout. Like, I don't know, man. Other than that, nothing that Ketlen Vieira has ever done has impressed me. For that reason, I'm going to go with Macy Chiasson. At least, like, I look at her sometimes, I'm like, okay, she can scrap. She can scrap. But then Ketlen Vieira might just hold her up against the fence the whole time. But Macy Chiasson's good in the clinch. It's one of those fights. It's the WMMA 135 division. I'm going to pick Macy Chiasson to get the job done. She gets the job done more than she doesn't. So I'm going to take a look at the odds gym over here. Macy Chiasson, and oh, it's basically a pick'em. That makes sense. It makes complete sense, but I'm going to go with Macy. But let's continue on, guys. Back-to-back bangers over here. We have Rayanne dos Santos taking on Alice Ardelean. Another great fight. Yeah. Honestly, the rest of the card's pretty good. I'm just not excited for these two particular fights, okay? We have Rayanne dos Santos as a grappler with decent striking and decent movement. She's not completely useless on the feet, but she does need to, like, get the fight on the ground to end up looking okay. She's had 2 UFC fights so far. She lost both of them, no matter what you think of the Pooja Tomar fight. Talita Alankar losing to her is like, I don't know, saying you lost to a 15-year-old. Not a good look. Alice Ardelean, on the other hand, she is a sloppy but well-rounded fighter. She's okay in the clinch. She likes to grab you and take you down. She will punch you from anywhere. She's one of those girls that at least try to hurt you from everywhere, but she does lack technique, and she kind of fights like someone just picked her out of a bar and said, here you go, fight in the UFC. Anybody that can keep this girl at range can beat her. Because, again, it's like, I don't know, man. I think I described it pretty accurately. You pick a girl out of the bar, say, hey, time to fight. Here you go. And she starts coming in and just swinging. If she could grab the hair, I would imagine she would. She's also been in the UFC twice, lost 2 fights. How are we supposed to pick this fight? I'm going to go with Rayanne dos Santos. At least, like, we see some technique from her. I'm picking Rayanne dos Santos. She's younger. She's going to do a good job. Let's see what Odds Gym has to say. Oh, there you go. Rayanne dos Santos is a pretty big favorite. She's going to be my pick, guys. Let's move on up the card again, though, guys. We have Allan Nascimento taking on Jafel Filho. This is a very good fight for the division. We'll start with Allan Nascimento. He is a high-level grappler with a variety of different and nice takedowns. It's not just like he wants to spam everything. He actually has good technique with no matter where he tries to take you down from. When he's on the ground, he has great transitions, and all he wants to do is get you to the ground. The striking that he uses is just to set up the takedown. He is a one game plan fighter, and he does an okay job doing so. He has had mixed success. He's taken on some okay opponents as well. He's been a very inactive fighter, but he's coming off of 2 really nice wins against Jake Hadley and Carlos Hernandez, and I think Carlos Hernandez is an excellent fighter to have a win over. Plus, you had a split decision with Tagir Ulanbekov, which I also think has aged pretty well. Jafel Filho, on the other hand, he is a high-level grappler as well with underrated power on the feet. Technical-wise, he's just okay, but he can get, carried away within the bout. He does have good power. He is pretty good at clubbing and subbing his opponents. He also has great cardio, an amazing heart. He has great single legs on the ground. His transitions are very nice, and he is all around like a very dangerous fighter, and he's performed that way the entire time. In recent history, he's also lost, he's only lost to Muhammad Mokaev, which that ended up aging well too. He's coming off of 2 pretty nice wins. He's also been a fairly inactive fighter. I'm excited to see him back, man. These are 2 really good grapplers going at it, and when you have 2 grapplers like this, anything can really happen. I'm going to give it to, I'm going to lean towards Jafel Filho. I think he has better options. I think that he's more dangerous in general. Allan Nascimento, when you have a grappler who is as good as he is, there's always the potential to catch Jafel in the submission, but I'm going to trust in Jaffel to be aware enough to avoid that. Maybe look for some submissions of his own, but I do think he is going to take advantage with the striking and a little bit more dangerous on the ground. Expect, like I'm talking about when it comes to at least like punching too. I'm going to pick him. I would imagine that he's going to get the job done. I'm kind of like 75-25 on that one, but let's see what OddsJam has to say. Almost a pick him. Look at that. Look at that. Al Nascimento, Jaffel Fielho. It's another, like, UFC has been doing such a good job with the matchmaking for this card. But guys, as you might know, I am a fight fan who likes to bet. Every single weekend I bet. And if you are interested in either supporting the channel or seeing exactly what I'm doing with my money, then you can check out the channel membership in the pinned comment description down below or right next to the subscribe button. It is very cheap compared to other channels. Every single Thursday, Friday, or Saturday morning, depending on whether or not I want to bet on Friday fights, I'll be uploading a members only post and a members only video explaining exactly what I am doing with my money each week. Again, if you'd like to either support the channel or see what I'm doing with my money, yeah, I would really appreciate if you would check out the channel membership. Additionally, we do have a discount for OddsJam. OddsJam is a partner with the channel. If you're a serious sports bettor with multiple sportsbook, OddsJam is an excellent tool. You can check out OddsJam in the pinned comment description down below using my code Clenbat, and you have to use the particular link as well. Thank you so much for listening, everybody. Let's get into the main card. Starting off the main card, guys, we have Seo Kyun Kyo taking on Billy Ray Goff. Two triple names over here. Anyways, we have the Korean Tyson, who is a well-rounded fighter. He is a good counterpuncher, and he has pretty good head movement around all of his shots. He's coming into the UFC on a 4-fight win streak after getting a nice win over on the Contender Series, and he won this fight. He used patience, he used fundamentals, and the problem only with that, though, is his opponent didn't look so good, okay? So I'm not convinced yet. I'm not convinced. Billy Ray Goff, on the other hand, is coming off of his first recent loss in the UFC over to Trey Waters, and honestly, it was a great fight. It was a complete slugfest. The fight could have gone either way. Billy Ray Goff is a well-rounded fighter with decent stand-up and decent grappling, but he definitely does thrive in the stand-up. Other than that, his movement is pretty awkward in general. He's not even in his prime yet, 26 years old. I like Billy Ray Goff in this matchup, guys. I think that he's going to... I've seen, like, the heart on display. I've seen the technique on display. I've seen him go through, like, a really tough bout. I haven't seen that from Seo Kyun Ko yet. I need to see him beat a Billy Ray Goff. For that reason, I'm going to edge towards Billy Ray Goff. And I'm... Sorry, I don't know why... why'd I laugh at that? I think I say edge all the time. Ridiculous, okay? Billy Ray Goff is going to be my pick. It's a low confidence pick, but he's going to be my pick. And you can see Billy Ray Goff is also a -174 average odds favorite over here. I like Billy Ray Goff. I'm going to pick him in this matchup. All right, guys, let's talk about the next fight over here. Zachary Reese taking on Dusko Tordovic. This is a very fun fight. A very good matchup. We have Zachary Reese, who is a very well-rounded fighter with slick technique in all aspects of MMA. He has great body kicks. He has great strength, control, power in every single shot that he throws. He's one of those guys that really likes to hurt his opponents no matter where he is, even if he's on the bottom. Now, what I've been talking about with Zach Reese, especially in his most recent performances, not his last one, but before that, recently, we finally saw Zachary Reese outside the first round. He never faded, but he certainly did slow down. But on the other side of the coin, that is because he throws absolutely everything into each shot, really trying to finish his opponents. Lastly, of course, we've seen that he can be knocked out, and that's how he's lost his 2 fights in the UFC. He lost the first one, which is crazy, to Cody Brundage, and then he recently lost to Azamat Bekaev, which is aging well. Other than that, Zachary Reese has had good performances in the UFC. He's a good fighter. He's just... I feel like he's just coming into his own. He's a fighter with a ton of potential. Dusko Tordovic, on the other hand, he's a technical striker with nice pressure, good grappling game to back up that nice pressure, and that good striking if necessary. There really isn't a ton else to break down about Dusko Tordovic. Now, you will see that he also has his fair share of losses in his career, okay? And he's coming off of a performance where he just got absolutely obliterated, okay? Before that, he was inactive because of the Christian Leroy Duncan fight, but other than that, man, like, his other recent loss was against Chidi Njokuani, and all of those opponents that beat him, they've aged pretty well. Now, call me crazy. Call me crazy. I don't know why. I'm having a little bit of a gut feeling that Dusko's going to get the job done over here. I think that he's going to put the pressure on Zachary Reese. I think that he has the option to stay safe with the grappling, and I think that he might chin Zachary Reese. I know that's probably a hot take because I imagine that Zach Reese is a big favorite over here, especially like, 2 years off, coming back, getting destroyed in a bout. I think Zach Reese is fantastic. I have a gut feeling to pick Dusko Tordovic on this one, so I am going to pick Dusko Tordovic on that one. Low confidence pick again. There's a lot of low confidence picks on this card because the card has been really, really good. And you can see Zachary Reese is in at a minus 273 favorite. Average odds for Dusko is plus 216. I'm going with the underdog on this one, Dusko Tordovic. Let's get the job done. But the problem is I do like Zachary Reese. It's not like I want him to win that much. Let's continue on, though, up the card, though, guys, to the featured fight. We have Dustin Jacoby taking on Bruno Lopez. A very, very interesting fight again. Man, Dustin Jacoby's getting up there, 37 years old. There's not a ton to break down about Dustin Jacoby, man. He's a great kickboxer with good takedown defense to keep things on the feet. He's a good kickboxer. That's what he likes to do. He has been a very inconsistent fighter. He's 20-9, and you can see that in his recent record. But he also does take on really, really good opponents. The Alonzo Menafield one was like, okay, that's a little bit of a strange loss to have. But Dustin Jacoby, after the loss to Dominic Reyes, he came back, had a okay performance against Vito Petrino. He ended up having a really nice KO, but like he was on his way to losing that fight. But regardless, Dustin Jacoby, he's still a good kickboxer, man. Bruno Lopez, on the other hand, he is a methodical striker with great pressure on the feet and with a BJJ foundation behind all of that striking. He uses distance well. He uses feints, counters with good pressure before he ends up throwing all of his shots. He also has a really, really nice and crisp 1-2. His game plan can change as the fight goes on, and he oftentimes shows high fight IQ. He can adapt to whatever his opponent is doing and adjust accordingly. After losing on the Contender Series, I did watch him in the LFA where he ended up getting a submission win, but then he ended up actually getting the call to the UFC after winning another Contender Series fight, and he got the win over Magomed Gatziasulov, where this fight, like, honestly, not a ton happened, but he did a good job putting a stop to Magomed's setup. That's tough, man. It's a tough fight to pick because I could see Bruno Lopez adjusting to whatever Dustin Jacoby does, but Dustin Jacoby has taken on a lot of really tough fighters with a lot of great experience, and I'm not really too crazy about Bruno Lopez right now. Dustin Jacoby has the experience. He's going to have the better stand-up. I know Bruno Lopez can kind of, like, push the ground game a little bit, but Dustin Jacoby does have good takedown defense, man. He's getting up there in age. Another really, really close fight. I'm going to pick Dustin Jacoby in this bout. Again, a little bit of a low confidence pick for that one, but let's see what the odds have to say. And the odds are pretty close. I didn't expect Dustin Jacoby to be a minus 140 favorite. I thought this would like teeter towards like, a little bit back and forth. But I guess like most people haven't really seen enough of Bruno Lopez yet, but I am going to pick Dustin Jacoby in this matchup, guys. Now, guys, before we move on to the co-main and the main event, as you might know, I am your guy with too many YouTube channels. We upload daily on multiple channels. So if you are interested, then check out the description down below or at the top of the description, you can find the link tree for the direct links to any other YouTube content. I want to have my toes dipped into every niche in YouTube, and we're going to take over the platform one day, guys. I appreciate your time watching this, by the way. It's just if you're interested, check out another channel. Thank you so much. Let's get into the co-main and the main event. All right, guys, let's continue on over to the co-main event. We have Mateusz Gamrot taking on Leavitt Klein. Another really, really fantastic fight. Mateusz Gamrot, he is a well-rounded fighter, but the goal is always to grapple. He is incredible with his control. He's incredible with his transitions, and he has great submission threats. Doesn't always get the submission, but he does a good job really making his opponents worry, making them defend and transition. On the feet, he's pretty underrated. He's pretty sneaky on the feet. He fights pretty safe, and he does a good job sticking to his game plans. Mateusz Gamrot, though, he can get rocked in bouts, and if he does, this is the problem. We've seen it especially recently. He changes up the entire fight. He is way too tentative, and then he kind of gets thrown off, and the potential for a loss really happens there. If you guys have been following the channel, you might know that I was hyping up Mateusz Gamrot to the point where I believe this guy could have been champion. I don't know if I was overrating him or if he's out of his prime at this point, but he is having less and less, spectacular performances. Like back in the day when he ended up fighting like Armin Sarukian, that was a fantastic fight. But after that, like the loss of Beneil Dariush ended up coming about. The Dan Hooker loss, he was really didn't look good there, but he still is a top contender. He still is a great fighter. Leavitt Klein, on the other hand, he is a versatile striker with really nice strong head kicks, and he has nice combinations in general. He will strike you everywhere. He does a good job throwing to the head, the body, and he does a good job doing so. He's shown to have good takedown defense as well, and he does have his own takedowns with decent ground and pound along with everything. He's really turning into a well-rounded fighter. He's 30 years old, in his prime. His recent wins have also been aging very well. Ignacio Bahamondes looked great. AJ Cunningham, okay. Thiago Moises is a really good win. And Roosevelt Roberts, underrated win in my opinion. And I really like the momentum that Leavitt Klein's on. I like the great performances that he's been having. I also worry about now at this point, like especially like we saw against Gamrot, against Dan Hooker with Gamrot. Ludovic Klein's capable of rocking Gamrot, and if he does that, Gamrot will start being tentative. I can't count on that anymore. Even then, like, Gamrot, he has good grappling, but Ludovic Klein has good grappling too. I don't know, man. I'm going to go with Ludovic Klein. I think it's Mateusz Gamrot's going to be handed another loss over here. Plus, Mateusz Gamrot, I know it wasn't really short notice, but he could have had more time to prepare for this fight. I'm going to pick Ludovic Klein, Mr. Highlight, to get the job done against Mateusz Gamrot. And you can see Mateusz Gamrot is sitting at a minus 144 favorite. Klein, slight underdog. I get that Mateusz Gamrot has been more proven, but I'm picking Klein in this matchup. I think that he's going to get the job done. All right, guys, let's continue on the main event, which should be the co-main event. Ludovic Klein versus Mateusz Gamrot is not 5 rounds, but this is 5 rounds. I mean, honestly, I like the fight. I like both Aaron Blanchfield and Macy Barber, but come on, man. Come on. Anyways, Aaron Blanchfield, Macy Barber. Aaron Blanchfield is a high-pressure, come-forward wrestler with relentless pace and relentless ground and pound. She is super tough, she has great cardio, and she is very good at listening to her corner. Recently, though, we found out that all she is, though, is that wrestler with pressure, with some good ground and pound. Her striking does need a lot of work, but if she can impose her will and get things to the ground, then she really does shine. After her very, very bad loss to Manon Fiorot, which hasn't aged the best, she ended up beating Rose Namajunas, but Rose is like coming like towards the end of her career, and you got to question where Rose is, especially the 125 division. Macy Barber, on the other hand, I know she's coming off of an injury, I just don't know what, and I know that she's had a couple comebacks set up and it got pushed back for the injury, so I'm assuming that Macy Barber is healthy. That's just something to take into consideration if you're betting on this fight. You never know, okay? Macy Barber, though, she is a well-rounded fighter who probably excels in the boxing, maybe just a little bit better than all of her other aspects of MMA. She's physically strong. Sometimes she can use that to her advantage. Other than that, she does seem to be improving from fight to fight, but there isn't really anything to point out about Macy Barber's game to, like, go crazy about. Like I said, she's improving a little bit each fight, but is she going to come in and improve this time around? I guess we'll have to wait and see. She's had a lot of wins, but there has been quite a bit of difficult decisions in there, and I don't really like the level of opponent of competition that she's taken on. Aaron Blanchfield has looked better, has had better performances, has had more clear victories, and only one bad performance as of recently. Bounced back, ended up getting a win. I'm going to pick Aaron Blanchfield to get the job done. I'm, fairly confident in saying so. I just worry, like, what if she can't get that takedown? What if Macy Barber's too big? then it's a little bit of a problem with Aaron, but I'm going to pick Aaron. She bounced back after that loss. She beat Rose Namajunas. That is a notable name. I'm going to pick her to get the job done. I'm interested to see what the odds are for this fight. Okay, Aaron Blanchfield, minus 176 favorite. I thought it'd be a little bit more, but I am comfortable with that. I'm not comfortable with betting, but I'm comfortable with saying that Aaron Blanchfield is going to get the job done. This card is pretty underrated, and I am very, very excited for it. So look out for the betting guide, guys. Let me know what you thought about the fights down below. Thank you very much for watching. If you want to continue watching MMA content, then check out this video on screen right now. I would love to have you over there. Thank you so much for being here. Take care, everybody.